everybody, it's Romania Black, and it is freezing outside. It's freezing outside, my hair is staticky, but I have a big cup of coffee, and I'm ready to watch episode 19 of Chihayafuru. I've been keeping track of the overall episode, so I'm like, it's episode 44, but what is that, season 2, episode 19? That's where we're at. And yeah, we are down to poor Tsutomu and Tsukuba are out. They've lost their matches. Tears are shed, violins are playing, but we do have Taichi, Nishida, and Chihaya left. Do I think they're going to all three win? I don't know. I don't think so. That's what this series does. When I walked into this match, I'm like, they're not going to win. It's going to be Fujisaki. They're going to win, and it's going to be a learning lesson for our second years and first years. But now that it's been getting into it, and now that it's getting down to the nitty gritty, I'm like, well, maybe there's a chance. So the mangaka gives you this little glimmer of hope, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, am I going to fall prey to the mangaka's glimmer of hope that they're just dangling on a string? Probably. I do have a couple comments I want to talk about before we dive in. For episode 15, which was No Matter Where I Stand, Furunoda supplied a transcript for poem 4, composed by Yamabe no Akihito, ranked by Kino Tsurayuki in the preface of Kokinshu in Kakinomoto no Hidomaru as one of the 2 best Manyoshu poets. Mostau translates it as I sat on the beach of Tago and look, I see the snow constantly falling on the high peak of Fuji, white as mulberry cloth. While Jlit goes with, Jlit is a different person. They go with, as I venture out onto the shore at Tago Bay, I see snow, pure white, falling now even deeper on Mount Fuji's lofty peak. Similar to many earlier poems in Hyakunshin Ishu, Akihito's poem was written in an old Japanese-Chinese hybrid script called Man-yogana and was thus open to many interpretations. In fact, the poem has evolved over time and is the version in the Hyakunin Ishu is the only one that is such versions. As a result, there is a debate about whether Akihito actually was, about where it actually was. The location of Tago no Ura is now Suruga Bay in Shizuoka Prefecture, but originally it may have meant some place much closer to Mount Fuji under its shadow, so to speak. Jlit continues. Much of the appeal of the poem lies in the contrast between the sharp image of Fuji's snowy peak in the distance and the vague abstractness of Tago Bay in present-day Shizuoka Prefecture in the foreground. The contrast creates an impression of spatial depth, which is thought to be in keeping with Yamabe's reputation as a visually depictive poet. However, since it would presumably be impossible to see snow falling at such a distance, a touch of fantasy is also involved. The expression shirotai is a makura kotoba deriving from a word for cloth woven from tree bark fiber, often used to modify white objects. In a literal sense, this poem represents reaching the national final. It is the top of the mountain, but figuratively, it is often used to represent Shinobu, the snowy white peak, who is present, and the girl that stands in the way of Chihaya's dream of being the best. I love Shinobu as the snowy white peak. I love the metaphor of Shinobu standing at the top and Chihaya's climbing her way up there to get to her. I love that. That's amazing. That's awesome. So thank you, Furunoda. I appreciate that. H-Banana7 for episode 16 and 17 says, Tsutomu immediately asking about the kimono class was so nice. In manners of love, he is a man of action. Taichi, take notes. No, I shouldn't be so hard on him. Yes, you should. Look, I love Taichi, and Taichi did a lot of good things last episode. We just gotta hold our boy accountable and be like, come on, Taichi, you got this. You can do this. You just, yeah, but Taichi needs to take notes from listen, immediately, Kana was like, I love a man that wants to learn how to put on a kimono, and Tsutomu was like, are there kimono putting on classes? And here we go. Which granted, Chihaya was like, oh, I like somebody that's great at Karuta, and Taichi's like, I'm trying. He's like, I'm trying so hard. Meanwhile, Grace 7885 for episode 16 and 17 says, talking about Taichi is definitely the type to overthink relationships. Yes. He also dated someone whom he clearly didn't love, so it might have been hard. We don't know exactly for how long he dated her. Yeah, we don't exactly know. It was at least a month or so, but could have been longer, could have been a little shorter. If Dr. Harada was 50 years younger, he'd be Taichi's worst nightmare. He's Chihaya's biggest crush. She just can't differentiate between love for Karuta and love for a person. I think that's very important, is that, again, one reason that I'm kind of hesitant to ship Chihaya with Arata or Taichi is because Chihaya doesn't really love people. She just loves Karuta. She literally is the Goku of Karuta. She's like, they're gonna have to convince her that marriage means playing Karuta till the day that you die, and then she'll be all for it. That's literally where Chihaya is right now. But Grace says, I think Arata is just as mysterious to Chihaya as he is to us. I agree with that. I feel like to us, Chihaya getting to know Arata is like through us as well. She's always longing to meet him so they can play Karuta together, just like when they were children. An interesting thing about this scene, and S Anime is going to point this out as well, is that although Chihaya has met the grown-up Arata, she pictures him in her mind as the boy who gifted her the passion for Karuta. Either Arata is this god that embodies her idea of a perfect or ideal Karuta, or the representation of their fond childhood dreams and the starting point of her passion. As they say in the movie El Dorado, or both is good. Arata is either in the past or future, but it's frustrating they aren't doing anything to build their relationship in the present. Yeah, I feel like that's been my one beef about the mangaka, is that they are keeping Arata so close to the vest, and I'm like, because I think the mangaka knows as soon as they get to know Arata, then it's like towards the end game. So I'm like, they are keeping him off to the side as long as they can. But yeah, I think for Chihaya, Arata does represent someone she idolizes like a god, but she also is nostalgic for them all playing together, and she doesn't really have a handle on, she only knows Arata from their childhood. She doesn't really know him now because he's not getting the chance to interact with her. But I want to compare that to S Anime's comment, which is the one nitpick I have is that Chihaya is not thinking about present day Arata. Her thoughts of wanting to be together is shown with child Arata, who she made the promise with and who gave her a new dream. While I understand that for Chihaya, who Arata was back then is important for her, she is now, let me go phrase this right. While I understand that for Chihaya, who Arata was back then is important for who she is now, whether it's for friendship or romance, I want her to be able to connect with who Arata is now, or think of who he is now more than is what I wanted to say. Well, I think she would if the mangaka would let them interact. She's had like one interaction with him face to face and one on the phone, and he doesn't talk to her, which is Arata's problem. He really needs to work on that. I think it's interesting for me because Taichi in this last episode imagined Arata as his peer. And I think that speaks a lot for how Taichi perceives Arata. Taichi doesn't imagine Arata from the past. He sees Arata as he is now because that's his goal of who to beat. So it's cool how they're characterized, right? It's interesting. But yeah, this episode is last week was a really good episode, and I'm super excited to see what we're going to get in this one. I could honestly see them ending the match right now, if I'm being honest with y'all, but I don't know. They may or they may not. We're just gonna have to see. So anyway, I'm super excited. We're not gonna waste any more time. I've talked for nearly 10 minutes. We are going to dive into episode 19 of season 2 of Chihayafuru. Thank you all for watching with me, and we're gonna get started here in 3, 2, 1. And let me make sure we got the right subtitles. We're good to go. Let's do it. I can't believe they won. I can't believe they won! Ah! I honestly, I'm gonna be real with you all. This episode, I was like, I had a few scenarios in my mind. Did I think they were going to lose all 3 games? No. Did I think that they were going to lose one of the games? Yeah, and it was going to be 3-2. I really thought it was going to be 3-2. I thought Nishida was going to win his game because he's been building that momentum up to redeem himself from the last 2 losses. So I'm like, okay, Nishida's probably going to win his game. And then it's going to come down to Taichi and Chihaya. And what I thought was going to happen was either they were going to go the super, super angsty route of Chihaya losing her match as well as not being able to play tomorrow, because she may not be able to play tomorrow. That may not end up happening for her, and my dog is demanding that I throw this stupid ball to him while I talk to you all. So she may not be able to play tomorrow. That is a very likely possibility. So we'll see what happens with that. But I thought I was either going to go the super angsty route where she lost the match and wasn't going to be able to play tomorrow, or she was going to win her match against Rion, but then Taichi was going to lose his match. And it was going to be a thing. But you know what? Every now and then, the universe throws Taichi a bone. And throw a bone it did. And I thought about bringing Whiteboard Kun out, but then I was like, instead I want to use the screenshots and talk you all through it, because this episode, I've been waiting for this episode to happen because I have given Taichi a very hard time. As you know, I've been giving Taichi a very hard time because our boy has had all this work to do. And this episode is the one I've been waiting for him to maybe start turning around. And I think that maybe we're starting that. So we're going to talk about it. But the universe was like, okay, we're going to throw you this bone. I can't believe they won. I cannot believe they won. That in itself shows me two possibilities, because I've watched enough sports anime at this point to know what that usually means. If the team wins, what that tells me is that there is a probable chance that we're not going to see them as third years in this anime, in this manga, because I've just watched enough sports anime to know that when the team like wins the national championships, it's like, are they going to win it again next year? So I don't think they're going to show us third year Chihaya and Taichi, which I don't know if they'll do a time skip. I don't know if we're just going to focus on this. I don't know. Maybe they will show us next year, and maybe they won't win. Maybe they'll get taken out by another team. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I guess we're going to find out. So we need to talk about this episode, though, and walk through some very important panels and discuss them, as my dog is asking me to throw this stupid toy for him, as he does every day. But we're going to go through this episode and talk it through here in 3, 2, 1. I was a bit worried whenever we had a minute and like nearly a 2-minute recap. It was, the intro started like a minute 45 in. I'm like, oh my God, why is this such a long recap? And then it was already like 3 minutes in. Buddy, what are we doing? It was like 3 minutes in when the episode started, and I was like, So, but I was like, they're going to end on a very specific point, and that's with Arata not having anything to say. And I'm like, we're going to talk about Arata. I'm an equal opportunist. I give Taichi a hard time because in past episodes, Taichi has deserved having a hard time. I'm going to give Arata a hard time in this episode. So get ready for that because it's coming at the end of this episode, but we're not there yet. So we need to build up to it. But yeah, so I am assuming that I don't know if Retro's team or if the Akashi girls won third place, the consolation. I don't know which team won. I'm assuming we're going to find out at the end of the episode. But I do like Makoto. That should have been the flag. That should have been the foreshadowing when Makoto was like, don't bluff. I'm like, Taichi does not bluff. Taichi does many things. He panics and overthinks on many things. Bluffing is not Taichi's forte. Taichi's not good at bluffing. So if Taichi says that something's going to happen, he is sincere and believes it wholeheartedly. That's why Tsutomu, who's sitting there with his mouth agape, is like, Taichi's saying this? Because Makoto has no idea. Makoto does not know our boy Taichi like we do. And so he does not realize that this is coming from Taichi as a statement. Because, yeah, Tsutomu is sitting there going, Taichi said that? He's like, 3 wins when we're cornered like this. I love this monologue that Tsutomu gives about Taichi, where he says, and I love this shot here. This shot is really good. On the surface, you think it's a spider web, but it's actually a fractured piece of glass. And so it's just like a shattered mirror because Taichi has bad luck. I love that shot of Taichi. It's really good. Where he's like, he always lets his actions speak for him. Yeah, Taichi is not, to his detriment, as we've talked about in the intros and in the comments, Taichi is not a man of words. And to me, that makes me frustrated sometimes because I'm like, Taichi, you just need to talk, need to say things. But no, he lets his actions speak for him. And he always is thinking about what happens when he loses. Taichi overthinks and he gets a little too focused on the loss. Yeah. Even when he volunteered to play their captain, you could tell he was already thinking ahead. He's someone that has, I love it. He's like, he has a lot of pride. Mashima, though, is trying to change. Yes, our boy Taichi is trying to better himself. He's trying to change. It's about damn time that it happened. But yeah, better late than never. What a time to bloom. But yeah, and so he stands up. I do have a splinter, so I'm going to take care of that when this is over. So I thought that I think he was. I think Taichi was deliberately trying to throw off his game. He was trying to throw off his rhythm because Inamoto has been very like focused and hard to shake. I think Taichi was trying to throw off his rhythm and be like, come on, like, let's make this turn our way. And he was sitting there thinking, this is Taichi using his memory to determine which cards are dead cards and which cards are left. Our boy is so smart. Like, my dude, if you can defeat one of the Class A champions from Fujisaki, you can do anything, my dude. The fact that he knew all the cards that were left on the table. Taichi's a monster, and he just doesn't realize it yet, right? I also love this one moment where the Empress looks over and the Empress looks over and sees Sumire and Kana, like, praying for them to win, and then she's like, she starts to do it too. We don't really see Shinobu's reaction to all of this. So I'm wondering, I was expecting Shinobu to run into Chihaya and talk to her about Arata, and that didn't happen. So I'm wondering, one, if Shinobu heard Chihaya's statement to Arata just now, or if she is going to come in, since Arata seems to be mush-mouthed, and speak on his behalf. We're going to see that. We're going to see if that goes and how that works. So yeah. And then he's like, I don't need Harada. And that's not to make him, because I like the little chibi of Harada where he's like, what? But no, Taichi doesn't need to focus on any other outside interference. He just needs to listen to his own inner voice. That's his instincts that are telling him what to do. And I'm like, yes, do not fall prey to any inner saboteur. Trust yourself and you're going to be fine. I'm like, And then he's like, you're the only coach that I've ever had. And when in trouble, always go lower right. I like that he doesn't want Harada's voice in his head. He wants to listen to himself. But at the same time, Taichi he's paying respect and reverence to his coach. He's not being like, I don't need your teachings. He's like, I know your teachings. I don't need to overthink it. I need to just focus on the here and now. And I'm like, yes. And this is the first time Taichi gambles. Taichi that I've seen, this is one of the first times I've seen him gamble and like want the risk to pay off. It felt like Ness back in the final of the last game when they were at the qualifiers asking for the card, right? He's like, come on, read it. He was begging for it, but it was a gamble. And the moment she read, he snapped at it. That was a gamble. That was a risk. It could have not played out for him, but it did. And I'm like, Taichi, for the first time, he gambled and it paid off. It was red. It was actually red. And they're like, he actually got lucky. The Karuta gods were on his side. He actually sent out the multi-syllable card to give himself a chance. And the Fujisaki captain's good at covering. So he's like, all right, he's open to attack with multi-syllable cards. And Tsutomu blushing when he's like, he's using my data that I gave him. Taichi proved himself as the captain this episode for sure. I loved it. He was only down 3 cards. And then him raising the card, him taking the long time to think about what to do. And he's like, I'm sending this card over. And I like that Taichi spent his time setting this up because it's a moment where he's setting it up just like Retro-kun's team did in the qualifier. He's like, I'm setting this up. Nishida, are you paying attention? Chihaya ain't gonna pay attention, but are you paying attention? And Nishida finally got it. I honestly, I know that we talked about in Retro-kun's team in their match when Sudo was the reader, how it was kind of cheating the way that they set it up. I don't view this as in the same boat because with their team, all 5 of them were just like, Are you setting up this card? Yes, I'm setting up this card. Now I'm setting up, like, it was so obvious what was going on. It just took our crew like a hot second longer to figure it out because I had never seen it before. But here, I feel like Nishida just caught wind and was like, oh, that's what we're doing. Okay, good. Then that's how we'll play it. Whereas I don't feel like it was as deliberate, because if it had been deliberate, I think that Fujisaki would have caught on to it. I think they would have caught on. But yeah, oh my gosh. Crazy talk. So yeah, so he sets it up. Inamoto is not happy. He was not having any of this. He did not like his momentum getting thrown off at all. But yeah, and so then they're setting up their matches, and that causes... So the card which shines over Mount Mikasa is the one that Taichi gets, and the Tetsuta River Ablaze, because it is red later on when Chihaya and Rion are at their final match. When it's red, yeah, that's the fault. Have that, darn it, that is committed. But, and the fact that Taichi, of all people, made Inamoto commit a fault. I love it, see? And if you notice throughout the match, after last episode, Taichi stops comparing him to Arata. He starts just saying, Inamoto does this, Inamoto does that. He stops comparing him to Arata and starts treating him just like a competitor, which is exactly what he should have done from the start, but better now than later. I also like that Sumire she was just gaga over Taichi in this, right? Iromu, not Inamoto. Iromu committed a double fault. When has that ever happened? You could tell that coach is like, son of a bitch. He rarely commits faults, let alone a double. He's like, I need to refresh my memory. That shot of Taichi is just so good. I was like, that's like Apollo. That's like a sun god. That is like a shining lion. It's like freaking Aslan on the plains. That shot of Taichi is so good. I love it. It's too big to be the thumbnail, I think, but it's so freaking good. I might try and see if it fits. And like, he knew exactly which card he was going to send. He wanted to reinforce what the field looks like in his mind. Yeah, Taichi playing the game, and he knows that Iromu is just as tired as he is. The fact that they've been playing for 9 hours is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. They've been doing that in a row. I love it. He sent another card. And so yeah, it's 3-3. He's caught up. And that's when he makes the thing where he's like, I'm going to send an order 4. And Nishida's like, oh, I see what we're doing. And that's when Iromu did this thing with his hands, that's kind of like he kind of does the same thing that Makoto does when he's getting serious, but the trap was already laid. And then on the end, there's Chihaya and Rion. One thing I loved about what they talked about with Chihaya and Rion's matchup is that there was no strategy. The guy watching is like, Taichi and Iromu and Nishida and Karada, they are all playing with strategies in mind. They have all these tricks and twists and turns. Chihaya and Rion are like two girls on gut instinct, just listening for sounds and seeing who can go faster. That is wild. That is wild, the way that they're matched up so in sync. And honestly, the fact that Chihaya was playing with an injured hand and still managed to beat her by 4 cards. Crazy. Or maybe it was 6 cards, but still, that's crazy. When did that happen? And it's like Yamashiro-san panicked and committed a fault. He's like, they seem like they're on the same playing field. The difference between them is barely perceivable, but it exists. At first, when he said that, I thought he was talking about that Rion had an advantage over Chihaya because of the injury and that he was noticing the injury as well. But it's enough of a difference for one to emerge victorious. Chihaya played her ass off. She played her heart out in this game. And not like that shot of the shadows and everything. Girl was just going into overdrive because she knew she had to win. Yep. And the fact that she has to keep telling herself where she's at. She's like, I'm in this room in the Omijingu Learning Center. I was like, is she about to faint? Because girl was like, when you have to tell yourself, like, remind yourself where you are. But it set the Tetsuta River ablaze. It's her card. Of course they play her card, right? Or maybe that's not the Impassioned Gods card. Maybe they already played that one. But still, it's one of them. And she thinks of Dr. Harada. She thinks of in the seat that assures victory. And then she gets it. And it was her card that was the one that was called, not Rion's, that she slapped away. Rion slapped the wrong card. Yep. And Chihaya's like, I got it. The thing is, in Chihaya's mind, and maybe they both slapped the same card at the same time, but here's the thing. I was expecting Rion to challenge Chihaya. I was expecting her to challenge her because they both slapped it like at the same time. But she didn't. She didn't challenge her. She looks over at Chihaya, who is confident that it's her card, and she looks back at her with them big creepy deer eyes. Like a damn Jersey cow looks back at you with them big brown eyes. And that look Chihaya gives is, do you want to challenge it? I got that card. You gonna tell me you got it before me? That was a challenge. That look was, are you gonna contest it? And in that moment, Rion's like, she couldn't contest it. She gave in. Chihaya didn't even have to argue it. If only Rion knew that Chihaya's terrible at arguing cards, she might have had a chance to get it, but she gave up. She gave up in the match. She gave up her fighting spirit. And that was it. Yep. And then it was over. I like the guy who's about to get Chihaya up, and Nishida's like, no, she passes out. she might have narcolepsy. We're going to get it documented here in a little bit. But yeah, you need to leave her alone. Damn. It happened so sudden that it took me a second to process that Rion had lost. I was like, wait, so Chihaya won. Okay, so then it's down to Nishida and Taichi. Taichi was the one that won the match for them. He really was. Because if he hadn't given that signal, Nishida wouldn't have pushed that card. And the thing about it is, as much as the moment with all of Retro-kun's team setting up that big luck of the draw block, as much as I hated that and it drove me crazy, it really was the foundation and foreshadowing, because the first people that noticed the luck of the draw setup were Nishida and Taichi. They were the first two that noticed. They were on opposite sides of the room, but they looked at each other like, oh shit, we know what's going on. And they tried to warn the others, and it wasn't quick enough for it to work. Here, they were side by side, and they both realized what was going down, and they synchronized it this time. I was like, that callback is so good. It's so good. But you know Rion is going to internalize that forever. That is going to be one of those moments like, I'm not going to forget this. That is crazy. Crazy, y'all. And poor Makoto. Makoto's like, Makoto is not going to make fun of her, like they said they were going to. Not after this loss. No. Nope. And then those two boys are like, all right, now we know what we got to do. We know what we got to do, and we're going to go for it. And I'm going to set over my card too. And that moment that Taichi looked over at Nishida like, okay, you know what I'm throwing down. We got this. Oh, the hype was so real. Yes. He's clawing his way back from his early deficit. His guesses are getting more accurate. And Nishida's guesses, it's not guesses. Nishida just gotta get the flow of the game. Our boys are late bloomers, We're not gonna hold that against them. They just are. That's just how they be. I've been playing Karuto since I was 5. He's like, I've been playing here longer than anyone else. I'm like, yes, tap into that. If you got to tap into something, tap into your experience. Nishida, you know what you're doing. Don't let these people intimidate you. And then Taichi thinks back to what Chihaya said. Compared to becoming the queen, it's harder for us to become the best in Japan together. I love this lesson, and it's what Chihaya kind of reiterates to Arata at the end. She's like, yes, my dream is to become queen. I want to become queen, and Taichi wants to become a master. Like we're gonna talk about that statement. I was like, oh, we've laid down the gauntlet now, Taichi. We've made that decision. Okay, but I love that she tells Arata, she's like, yes, I want to become queen, but I love playing as a team. It's my favorite. It's harder than individual matches. It's still so good. I love it. It's my favorite is when we play together. And she's like, you should care more about that. And we're going to get there and talk about it. But he thinks back to that and he's like, Chihaya is right. And oh, it's so good by no fault of mine. Oh, man. He's like, Chihaya's right. It is harder to become a team that's a champion together. Okay, so Romu gets the card and comes back. And Taichi watches him sit down. He's quick when it comes to cards that are now one syllable. I love that he's just recognizing him as just Iromu and not Arata now. He's like, but I can't lose here. Taichi goes on a freaking roller coaster from this point on in the episode. Taichi goes on a damn roller coaster of emotions. And he's like, Chihaya will have plenty of chances to try to become master and queen. To try to become master and queen. Here's my thing. One, this is like one of the first times that Taichi has committed to the concept that he wants to become master alongside Chihaya becoming queen. Like one of the first times. He's wanted to become class A so that he can rival Arata and he can play with Chihaya and Arata, and he's wanting to do it for his own personal reasons. But we've never really seen Taichi been like, oh, I want to become the master. Like he's maybe said it or hinted around at it, but there's not been that conviction. Here, he says it so casually. It's like, no, that's exactly what he wants to do. That is exactly what he wants to do. And I'm like, oh. He's like, we'll have plenty of chances to become master and queen, but we only have this one chance in high school to become the top team. That's so true, because I'm glad that he brought up this point, because it's something that we've kind of talked about in previous episodes, that you can play solo matches and individual matches at any tournament, like for the rest of your life. Until you're like Dr. Harada's age or older, you can play by yourself to become queen or become master, but you only get 3 years to win as a high school. That's why it's so special. That's why it's so coveted, because this is your one chance to come together as a team, and there's so much at stake and all of that. And I'm glad that they both that he realized that and was like, no, I want to win as a team now. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. They could come back next year and Taichi could get sick on the day of the tournament and then they bomb the first round. You know, you just never know what's going to happen. We only get one chance to play as a team. We only get to do it those 3 years during high school. And then he defends his card. I love that. Ah, yeah. Love it. And then they put it down. It's luck of the draw. Now it's luck of the draw. And to think that we came this far in both games. I love the coach is like, I do not believe this. She's like, are you kidding me? Both of them are in luck of the draw situations. And that's when she realizes what they've done. She's like, if they read, I do not know where this love will take me, it's over. If they read his card, then it's done. So we're going to talk about that card. I do not know where this love will take me. He's like, there's no guarantee that we'll make it back to finals next year. No, there's not. There really isn't. You don't know what will happen. So you have to take advantage of this now, because you don't know if you'll be back next year. You can't rely on that. You've got to be in the moment. You have to be present. It's so good. It's so good. We'll probably never get another chance like this. I mean, if anything, they're probably never going to get the chance to face Fujisaki at the height of their talent as they are now. They will never get that opportunity again, because even the coach said after this year, they're basically starting from scratch and they're going to have to work their way back up. She's like, I've got to adjust the drawing board and do what we can. So yeah, they're not going to be like they were. It's not going to be like what it was. But, however, he's like, that's why I have to take advantage of it now. So, and then this is when Kana points out the poem that, like a boatsman adrift at the mouth of the Yura, I do not know where this love will take me. Of all the cards, this is the one that the Prez gets. I don't know if she means the Prez like the Emperor, or she meant the Prez like the Captain. Okay, this is the one that he gets. Okay. And then she's going to talk about that poem here, and then no more can we hear the sounds of the waterfall, but its legacy continues to spread. That card is interesting too, because honestly, that is pretty indicative of Fujisaki. It's like, we can't hear the sounds of the waterfall. We don't get to make it to the paradise at the end, but our team will go on. Their legacy will continue even if we don't win this game. That's oddly ominous, right? An oddly ominous card indeed. But Kana likes the other card. She's like, I like the one that is more technical of these poems. And she talks about the one card saying that the mouth of the Yura is where the river meets the ocean. And explains that there, love lost its oars in the water, left with no idea where it will go. And I love that representing Taichi in this episode for a couple reasons. One, because Karuta has become a love for Taichi. And at first, he just started playing Karuta because of Chihaya and Arata, and then he kind of didn't know where it would take him, so he kind of went adrift for a while. In middle school, he didn't really play it, so he was kind of lost at sea. And now he's been rowing his way back into the world of Karuta. He doesn't know if it will take him to be a master. He doesn't know if he'll make it to Class A or not, but he still loves Karuta, and he wants to see where it will go. But it's also a metaphor for his love of Chihaya. He doesn't know if Chihaya will ever love him back. He doesn't know if Chihaya will ever requite the love that he gives her. He doesn't know that. But does that mean that he stops paddling? Does it mean he stops following the river to the ocean? Not necessarily. I hope that after this episode, with Taichi realizing that not everything is doom and gloom for him, he is not doomed to be a failure. Luck can be on his side. I hope that Taichi takes the initiative and, like, no time like the present. You don't know if you're going to be back in finals or not. Start telling this girl that you like her and treat her like you like her, because you don't know what will happen, you know? Oh, this boy. I like that shot too. That one's really good as well. That could be it. And that's when he, of course, as soon as he thinks of love and Karuta thinks Chihaya, wake up. This here, he's like, I want you to watch my fate. When I tell you, that line absolutely spun Taichi around for me, because he didn't say, watch me win. He didn't jinx himself. He didn't say, watch me win. He didn't say, be here when I lose. He's like, I want you to watch whatever happens. I want you to see it. Oh, just, oh my God. Watch my fate. Meanwhile, this coach, her body language, she's like, well, we're screwed. She's like, it's a 50-50 chance. It's a coin flip. She's like, it's over if Laika is red. She's like, I did not expect them to synchronize their cards. Surely they didn't. Surely it's just a coincidence. But no, it is not a coincidence. They literally planned it. She's like, Imuro has strong luck. But no, here's the thing. He may have strong luck, but this is the one time the Karuta gods are on Taichi's side. You don't understand, Hiromu. This mangaka has been torturing Taichi for 44 episodes to lead us to this point. We had to endure 44 episodes of torture with Taichi for him to get a bone thrown at him. He's like, they were setting this up. I think that that's what also got Hiromu kind of down in this moment, because he realized it was a setup and he realized he didn't catch it, and he's kind of mad at himself about that. He's like, they understand how to play team matches. And I'm like, yeah, they had the same thing just happen to him at the qualifiers. And meanwhile, Retro-kun's like, luck of the draw. What's going on? I'm like, focus on your own game, Retro-kun, before you guys lose. And yeah, now they're all up watching. So did they lose? Did they win? We don't know. A 50-50 chance. And then they're like, they all say, we've never seen Taichi have his card read in a luck of the draw. The one time. Never say never. And meanwhile, Makoto's like, how long has it been since Iromu's last luck of the draw? They're like, did Hiromu relax because he was against a Class B player? I like that he's just sitting there like doing some kind of like Etsy witch rain dance, trying to just loosen up. And like, it's still okay. I'm like, they jinxed it. They're like, his card will be red. You don't ever jinx it during match. Don't say that. Don't jinx it. He's like, I can visualize my no more being red. He also distracted himself. I'm glad that they didn't win because the moment I saw this, I'm like, I don't want them to win. I don't want him to get that. No. Nope. Not going to have that. And then Taichi, meanwhile, had the opposite moment where he's like, I don't think my card will be red. And I was like, my dude, if you mother trucking give up when you've come so far and you've started to turn it around, I will be so mad if you start to doubt yourself. He's like, I doubt I can take the last card from a player who's such a good defender. I'm like, quit talking bad, Taichi. Quit talking bad about yourself. And he tries, what broke my heart was he tries to like talk himself out of it. He's like, you're talking negative. He's like, don't do it. Don't do it. Mm-mm. He's like, remember to breathe. He's like, you got this. I can't give up yet. Yes, don't give up. Exactly. Like is a 1-syllable card now, but nothing hasn't been read. So he can't take no more. He's like, do I attack? Do I try? And he's like, oh, I mean, Hiromu's like, don't get any smart ideas. Don't even try it. And he's like, okay, but if I don't attack, then it's over, right? If you don't try. I like that Taichi's like, I've got to try. I have to. And then we get a couple dead cards in that moment. Yeah. Oh, he's like, Nishida also was on attack. He's like, I can't give up. And then I like that Hiromu was like, are you really going to try? Come at me, bro. Is this really what's about to happen? I also love that the reader, she was watching the whole time. She's like checking it out. Like, okay, you guys are getting into it. All right. So he's like, all right, we're down. Still nothing. His guard is so low. There's no opening to attack. The one guy that Nishida is against seemed nervous. And he's like, damn. Empress looks like she's about to faint. So does Sumire. And you could tell Sumire was trying. She's like, I'm so scared. She like wanted to reach out and like say something to Taichi. But of course you can't during the game. I feel like Sumire was trying to like force her goodwill upon him in this moment. Taichi just looks so handsome. He can't help it. And he's like, the one card I need won't be read. This entire moment from here on out to the end of the game is exactly what Taichi thinks of himself. He always believes he is the jack of all trades, master of none, even though I'm like, you need to be a master of Karuta. He needs to be a master of Karuta to turn over the jack of all trades motif. That would be the ultimate irony and it'd be amazing. But he believes, Taichi has believed up until this point, that he'll never be lucky, that he can't ever have it his way. Things are always going to be stacked against him. He's like, it never is. My card is never read. He's like, is that how my life is going to go? I'm like, my dude, you cannot base your life just based on how a Karuta match goes. It's okay. He's like, is everything I do futile? No, I hated seeing him have all of this self-doubt. This was so sad. I hated seeing him feel this bad about himself. I'm like, no. I'm like, Taichi, it's not always going to be like that. It won't be. He's like, there's 6 more dead cards. The fact that he still remembers every dead card after what's happened, this man is a monster. He's an absolute monster. And then he says, is it futile to keep remembering them? I'm like, do not give up. Do not at all. And Nishida's not giving up. And everybody is watching to see what's going to happen. And I love him clenching his fist there. And he's like, still, even though he doubts himself, even though he's overthinking, even though he believes that his entire life, nothing is ever going to go his way and it's always going to be like this, he's still trying. He's like, please, God. He says, I beg you. And this shot of him, he's like, I don't care if my card is never read in a luck of the draw again. You just set yourself up with some karma. You just set yourself up with some cosmic karma, my dude, because now that you've put this in the nether sphere, it probably never will be read again. It would be amazing if he gets in a future match and it's luck of the draw and he's like, it's never going to get read again. But then he decides, okay, if it's never going to be read again, then I know I'm going after my opponent's card. And does it that way. That would be so badass. I would love that so much. But this moment here, oh my God, Taichi. He's like, I don't care if it's never read again. And then he's like, so please, just today. Just today, and right as like the sun rising, he's like, this one time, and he senses her get up and looks over to him. Oh, just this once. And the moment she started reading, like a boatsman adrift, he knew, and everyone erupts. She had to finish reading it. I love that Kana's like, let her finish reading the verse, because that's what's appropriate for the game. But everyone knew. The moment it started, they all knew it was that card. And Arata's like, okay, the game's over. And they got it. Oh. And he looks over right at Chihaya. And they're like, we did it. And Kana's like, wait, be quiet. Let her finish reading the second verse. The match isn't over until the second verse has been read. And she's about to cry. Oh, I love the readers like, thank you for understanding the rules. And then she finished reading it. Adrift at the mouth of the Ura. Yep. I do not know where this love will take me. And that moment of Taichi adrift on the water. And here's the thing. Taichi this is the thing that's so beautiful about it, is that in the previous matches where Arata was there, and Arata was this big gushing ocean of water, and Chihaya found it refreshing. She's like, it was this refreshing, cool water. Taichi was drowning. And God, it makes you so emotional to talk about, but this here is Taichi could be surrounded by this giant ocean of water that is Arata. He just needs to be in a boat, and he just needs to row through it. And this was like him getting his boat. He can't swim, so he'll just get in a boat and he'll oar through it. Like, this is his card. This is Taichi's card, is I do not know where this love will take me. This is Taichi's card! Oh! And it's his way of just rippling through the waters. And the moment Chihaya, like, smothers both of them in a hug. I love in that moment, Taichi didn't immediately look over to Chihaya for, like, confirmation or affirmation or anything. He was too busy thinking and focusing on himself and how much this moment meant for him and for his growth and everything. And then Chihaya just barrel rolls them over with a hug. And he's like, oh, hey. And she smacked her face on the mat. And Nishida's about to cry, and they all go over. Oh. And the Empress, we don't see Shinobu's face. Note it, clock it. We don't see Shinobu's face at all during this. So we don't know her reaction about the team match. But, oh, everyone hugging and surrounding Taichi this time. It's so perfect. But we don't see Shinobu's reaction. Not a bit. So meanwhile, we find the championship team. I'm assuming that Retro-kun's team won because the Akashi Girls team seems like they're not paying attention. They look kind of down. So maybe we're assuming that they won. And they're like by a score of 3-2. Yep. So Shinobu's already left. You can see that she was sitting right next to the coach. She's already packed up and she's left the arena. And yeah, the team is really sad. And they're like, we lost second place. I like after this that she's like, the loss is my fault. If I were the god of Karuta, I would have sided with Mizuzawa for the valiant display. That was a cold ass line if you think about it. She basically was like, well, if I was God, I would have granted them the victory too for how they played compared to us. I was like, woo! But I was like, that's a cold line. But she basically says, she's like, I should have coached for more than just strength. She's like, I've learned lessons. We're going to rebuild. She's like, and then Iromu is like, I looked down on my opponent for spending a year in Class B when that was my mistake. Yep, this guy is on his way up. I'm glad Taichi's on his way up. It took us 44 episodes to get here, but I'm glad we're making it here. And then I love that Makoto, he sees that Riona's starting to cry, and she's like, she's showing emotion. And I'm like, well, of course, she's always had emotion, dude. And so this moment here with the coach, I thought for a second that this was Makoto grabbing her by the head, like to do a head pat. But instead, it's the coach being like, look, you're going to have to get it together. And this is actually really high praise from her. She says, none of our players are capable of defeating Ayase-san. I'm like, that, when the coach of a 4-time national champion team says that none of y'all could have beaten Chihaya, that's high praise. That's really high praise. So, Chihaya, I wish you could hear that, girl. She's like, you need to realize that you lost despite having the advantage. She's like, you're going to learn some humility. And then you'll have to make sure that we don't lose a single match next summer. Because she's going to be the anchor. I like the coach. I like Suzuzawa a lot. She's really grown on me as a coach throughout this. So yeah, everybody, we see them commiserating, and the team gets all together there. We had some excellent matches this year. Yep. Mizuzawa is our champion. And he sees Chihaya all by herself. And I'm surprised Chihaya wasn't happier, but she's thinking that she really wished that Arata would have been there. And she's like, he says, if you become the best player in Japan, you'll be the best in the world. And he's not interested in team tournaments, which I want him to explain himself and what he's realized and why he couldn't come watch. Because she's sad that he didn't come watch. She's like, to her, she's like, we're the national champions. This is such a big moment for her. And she wants to share it with both of her best friends. And one of her best friends kind of degraded the team matches and said they didn't mean anything. And she's like, but I want you to know that they do mean everything. And she's just really sad that he's not there. So yeah, so they all head out. And as they're going, there's Chihaya steps out and sees Arata standing there by the pillar and sees him. Taichi sees him as well. And there he is. In all of his... And honestly, I feel like this is growth for Taichi, because Taichi didn't immediately get all doom and gloomy. He was like, oh, Arata is here. Okay. Because they won. Like, what is Taichi afraid of? They won. How can... Taichi's on cloud 9. Like, he was the reason... He was like their guarantee of victory. And she's like, did you watch? And he's like, oh. She's like, were you watching? And he doesn't answer because he was not watching. I'm gonna give Arata a little bit of a hard time, because I've given Taichi a hard time about the same thing. Chihaya's asking you a question. She's like, were you watching? All Arata had to say was, I came to watch. Long story short, I wasn't allowed to see you. That was 2 sentences. That was 2 sentences. One was a compound sentence, but that was 2 sentences. I wanted to come watch you all, but long story short, comma, something happened, comma, and I wasn't allowed to watch you. You could even add the 3rd sentence of, so I was here waiting till the match was over. Done. Instantly gone. You're great. You're good. You've explained yourself. She can ask further questioning. But he doesn't say anything. And then she's like, my team is the best in Japan. She's like, I became the best in Japan without becoming the queen. And meanwhile, Arata's like, why am I getting yelled at? But what she's saying is, she's like, what you told me to become the best in Japan, I would have to be the queen. She's like, I just proved you wrong. I didn't have to become the queen to become best in Japan. My team did that. We all did that together. And then I like that Taichi's just looking at her like, okay, here we go. And these other players are like, who's this? Except for Nishida, he knows. It's because we were playing together. Don't say that you're not interested in teams. This is such a moment, because I feel like this is such a moment, and it should tell Taichi too that Chihaya is not, she views Arata as an inspiration for her playing Karuta, but she doesn't necessarily put him up on a pedestal, because she's like, you should not look down upon teams. We're amazing. And look at what we did. We're national champions. Don't look down on us. And then he thinks of all the times where she said the same. Where she's been all about them playing together. Yeah. And you could tell when in that one flashback where Taichi's like, well, we'll all win as a team. And Arata's like, I don't know about that. Damn. Taichi also had to glow up. That haircut did not suit him at all. And then they played together and just got better together as kids. And yeah. And she was like the connector of them all. Mm-hmm. And Arata is clearly like, he doesn't know what to say, but he knows what she's talking about because he's been mulling that over in his mind. And all he says is, yeah. And Taichi's sitting here like, my dude, you have the floor. Taichi's like, you have the floor. You gonna say anything too? I hope Taichi learns from this, being like, oh, so that's what it looks like when I'm not saying anything. Oh. But I'm like, Arata, you have this moment. And I know they cut off the damn episode right there and then to make a cliffhanger so that we've got to wait until next episode. But I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you finally are able to see her face to face. They better have a talk next week. They had better had a conversation. Mangaka, you have blue-balled us for 44 episodes for them to be together again. You had better let us have a conversation. I need a conversation between Taichi and Arata. That needs to happen. I need you to respond to Chihaya's questions about teams. I need you to respond to that. I need the others to find out who you are. I need Shinobu to get in on this. I need a lot of things. But I'm like, Arata, if you don't say anything after all this time, then I might switch over to Team Taichi. The ball is in your court, sir. The ball is in your court. Please act upon it. Oh my God. Seriously. So yeah, I can't believe they won. I am so excited for our crew. I am so happy for them. I don't know how the individual matches are going to go because Chihaya was injured. She's not acted injured since they won, but she's also probably riding an adrenaline high off of them winning. So I need somebody to look at her hand next episode to make sure she's okay to play. I also need her and Arata to have a conversation, and I need Taichi and Arata to have a conversation. Please, God, let this happen. So Taichi had good luck this week, and it's a miracle, and I am so floored. But anyway, so yeah. We're going to find out what's going to happen next week, but I'm so excited. I cannot wait for your thoughts down below. Please, no spoilers, hints or clues. I'll get there. Y'all know it. But I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care. And yeah, our Mother Truckin' Champions of Japan, heck yeah, are going to be back next week for episode 45, or AKA season 2, episode 20 of Chihayafuru. And I will see you all then. Bye.